So YouTube, those of you who follow me know that I've actually been working on doing some updates and modifications to the Firebird. One of the first things that I ordered obviously was a turbo, but I ordered some rear suspension kits to do some upgrades to support exactly what I was trying to do, the type of performance. So I'm actually trying to get 350 to 400 horsepower out of this car. That's it. It's going to be a daily, and I wanted to take on the V6. And again, there are some other videos that you can look that I have posted to tell you how to get between 300 and 400 horse out of a V6 for not a lot of money. The biggest issue for me was the turbo, which I actually got on sale for $560, which I actually covered on one of my videos. Anyway, one of my last videos, you know, the fuel pump went. And so in the process of replacing the fuel pump, I created a video about the hatch that I decided to cut out rather than drop the rear. And so in doing so, I had lowering shocks, I had lowering springs, I had a panhard bar, I had a few things. So I said, you know what, you might as well do it. So I have not actually replaced the fuel pump yet, but this is my fuel access port. I did a lot of research. Everybody has an opinion, but I go with the strongest one that proves. And a lot of people said to stay with the AC Delco. And so that's what I decided to do. I stayed with the AC Delco fuel pump, and I'm actually going to, when I remove this, I'm going to upgrade this with some Racetronic fuel parts. So it'll be better output, I guess. But at the end of the day, a lot of people said you stay with the original AC Delco, which I can't disagree with, because this is actually original AC Delco and the car is 24 years old. So there's some truth to that. One of the things was the power loss that was mentioned in one of the videos due to the relays in the fuse system. So I did decide to buy a bypass wiring kit for the fuel, which in my situation, I would have had to run through the firewall. But I have a 50 farad capacitor that has a remote turn on. So it has an input and then a separate output. So I'm actually going to wire it directly to that so I can get maximum voltage. Obviously, the faster the fuel pump can run, the more gas you can get. Everyone here who's car guys, you know. So as you can see, that's your space for your rear shocks. So I'm actually upgrading the rear shocks. I brought some Mukas. You might not be familiar, but these are Mookie, maybe is what it, performance lowering, and that'll help with the coil spring, which is an 1.5 inches shorter than original. With that, one of my videos, I told you I got ceramic coated, slotted, and drilled rotors. And then obviously I went with ceramic brakes. In doing so, what I realized is that your shock mounts, your coil spring mounts, they're a bit rusted. So what I decided to do is actually sand them a little bit, and then they sell, I don't know if you've ever seen this product, but they actually sell Rust-Oleum cells and undercoating. And so this is actually the regular undercoating, but they actually sell a pro grade, which if you look online at the reviews, and there are about 200 people that purchased it, it was like 4.8 out of 5. This one, about 70 people had purchased it, and it was still maybe 4.41 out of 5, which is pretty good. But it was only $7.87 if you go to Walmart, which obviously, you know, I have a hybrid and I have an electric car, so, you know, it's nothing but time for me. I'm not spending nothing else. So I decided to drive to 2 or 3 Walmarts to see if I could find this undercoating. And, you know, sure enough, it was sold out at virtually all of them. So somebody's using it. So I've used it to coat. It adds a rubberized coating. This is good for like the undercarriage of your truck, so forth and so on, which is why I think they created it. The other thing I decided to do, the calipers were already painted. And so I bought Rust-Oleum caliper paint. This paint was $9 and I believe 87 cents. But I had to drive to 3 Walmarts for this also, because they all said they had it and none of them did, which means people are buying it. When you're dealing with brake dust and trying to develop resistance, you need more like a ceramic type of application. And so I decided to go with that. So what I'm doing right now, obviously, is I've taken the brackets off on my unit to paint them. I've repainted the calipers where I'm gonna reaffix, and then I've actually removed the old panhard bar. I actually wanted a panhard bar with Zerks, and so you see there's the Zerk connections, and somebody on Facebook Marketplace actually sold this to me for 50 bucks. So I thought that was an excellent deal. So the other thing I would say is to remove my coil springs, and these aren't expensive. These things were great. You see they have a locking mechanism. The hardest part, obviously, in a Firebird was trying to have enough clearance to pull that strut mount out. But what you can see, what I did is on the rear diff is where I put my jack stands, and then if you can see here, that's how I lifted the body, obviously, so I could get clearance to remove the spring. So right now, I'm in the process of replacing the rear rotors, the rear brake pads, the panhard bar, little touch-up paint, coil springs, which you can see the original there, and the lowering shocks. So this is kind of part one. I'll be back again when I start to replace the fuel pump and other various components.